Hi everyone, Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for a review of the new Blood Orange album, Angel's Pulse. Blood Orange, the music project founded by multi-instrumentalist, producer, singer, and songwriter Devonte Hines. There used to be a time when I was not really all that crazy about Blood Orange's music, honestly, and I really did truly dread the prospect of a new release. But these days I do actually admire the intoxicating blends of art pop and R&B that he drops into his most recent records, Freetown Sound and what I think is his best project to date, Negro Swan. And of course I'm excited to hear another helping of all of that. But I still did go into this new project skeptically because it has been earmarked as not a proper album, but a mixtape, which does kind of communicate to the listener these days that they are in for something that is going to be rougher around the edges than what would normally be considered an album for a particular artist. And how exactly that was going to work going into this record, I wasn't entirely sure, because as is, Dev's music is already pretty loosely structured and impressionist. But the saving grace of Dev's last couple of records, especially Negro Swan, is that even though each track isn't super well developed individually, they all come together and reinforce each other to create a pretty awesome vibe. Yeah, a great majority of the tracks on Angel's Pulse aren't really all that well developed either. There are a lot of shorties on here, sudden endings, basic structures. The song Birmingham is a stunningly beautiful vocal and key interlude that would have been amazing if it were, I don't know, the intro or the start of something else. But instead it just kind of feels like a loose idea that doesn't really progress anywhere. So like on other recent Blood Orange releases, Dev does deliver some really interesting concepts and ideas and motifs. But as an entire project, they fail completely to come together cohesively in any sort of way. As good as some moments on this mixtape are, I do feel like I'm just listening to a random batch of loose ends. Which isn't a terrible idea when the ideas going into them are pretty decent. The track I Want to See You is a super killer piece of sensual low-key guitar pop with an amazing refrain. The vibe of the song is you're being cuddled lovingly by your biggest crush. It's a vibe, it's a sound, it's a song that I wish lasted forever, honestly. Then we have Dark and Handsome featuring Toro y Moi, which is actually a really cool crossover. Chaz delivers a quirky little rap verse at about 2:33 that goes over relatively well. Structurally, it's one of the meatier songs on the entire record and has a pretty sweet tune to it. It's really just a glossy synth ballad with some very quality hooky vocal melodies. I do think from here, though, the album does tend to get blander and blander. On the song Good For You, the instrumental here is absolutely throwaway, boring, redo it. It has no soul to it whatsoever, even though Justine Skye does prove to be one of the best guest singers on the project. The song Baby Florence features this jittery, forgettable beat paired with vocals that are mixed way too low. It leaves no impression on me whatsoever. It just has a pretty vibe, and that's about it. I do commend Dev, though, for occasionally on this mixtape using this as an opportunity to embark on some sounds that maybe you wouldn't find on your average Blood Orange album, though. Like with the song Gold Teeth featuring Project Pat and Gangsta Boo of 3 6 Mafia fame, which I don't think I need to explain is a really weird pairing. Dev places both of them on top of these dreamy keys and pianos, and it actually ends up pretty amazing. It's a solid beat, we get a lot of gritty southern flows and lyrics. Guest singer comes in and offers some spacey vocal passages that kind of just bookend the verses and provide a nice bit of structure. Again, this combination of voices is pretty weird, and I didn't expect it to come together as well as it actually did, and I wish Dev took more opportunities on this project to experiment this wildly. I should also mention that Arca Joba of Brockhampton fame, as well as Justine Skye, appear on the track Take It Back, but the combination of voices and ideas isn't exactly fireworks. It's actually one of the more boring and drawn-out songs of the entire record. The Joba verse on the song is okay, but it turns up at the very end, maybe when it really means the least. The instrumental on this thing mostly put me to sleep. The vocals for a vast majority of the song just felt very detuned, very comatose, soulless. It was like listening to your average Blood Orange song, but it was just woozy to the point where it lost its direction, lost its pulse. What's even stranger is that even though there are so many short songs on this mixtape, for whatever reason, Dev commits this song to like 4 minutes and change, totally dwarfing a ton of much better but also much shorter songs in the track list. Happiness and Tuesday Feeling are also not bad moments on the album either, but it's not like they're fleshed out and developed to the point where they really warrant a listen outside of the context of the mixtape. In many respects, Angel's Pulse does feel like Blood Orange's most recent work, but again, that cohesion and that consistent, pillowy, dreamy, enveloping aesthetic that made the magic work in the way that it did on Negro Swan, it's just not here, and it's been replaced by virtually nothing. By comparison, everything just seems so disconnected, seems so half-baked, seems like there's not really a whole lot of intention behind a lot of it. Dev is just throwing this out there to see what sticks. Quite a bit of it does, but also a lot doesn't. Still, I wouldn't say it's a terrible listen, and I enjoyed it more than I didn't. But honestly, what I really wish at the end of the day is that Dev took the best moments on this tape, of which there are quite a few, and just incorporated them into a proper album down the road, instead of just like padding out time with this mediocre mixtape. Overall, it's fine. It's passable as a tape, but I am just, from here, looking forward to the future for when there is another more ambitious Blood Orange album, and that's it. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this one. Transition, have you given this mixtape a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Angel's Pulse, forever.